Welcome back to the BagTalk podcast. I am your host, of course, Jay Rose. Let me get, in honor of this amazing Game 6 that we just got from the Celtics and Heat, let me get 3 straight free throws. 1 free throw for the subscribe button, 1 free throw for that like button, 1 free throw for the noting bell. Let's get it. I'm just going to hop right into the hoops. That was one of the best playoff games I've ever seen in my life. It was really gritty. And it was just heart-wrenching the whole way through. It was a real battle out there. The grit and grind style of this game was very reminiscent of those 2010 series, the very slow-paced basketball. It reminded me a lot of Heat Spurs or Lakers Celtics in that time period. Both teams were going at it on defense. There were a ton of chippy plays, and I feel like a lot of this game was just going down to who's going to get a stop. And boy, even when the Heat get a stop, they could not secure those rebounds, and that's really what killed them. Even on that final play, you saw an offensive rebound is what ended the game. Derek White.
It's off to Smart for the 7th game. Now tipped in, but the buzzer sounded. To protect the offensive rebound.
Oh, he got rid of it.
That's
a Celtic win, and we're going to Game 7.
The Celtics are going to win. There's a Game 7 back in Boston.
Rolling on the floor is good back.
A game winner with 0.2 on the clock. Absolutely insane. They played great defense. They played that inbound play perfectly. They should be going to the finals, but Bam Adebayo, man, he refuses to box out. He refuses to grab rebounds, and they're not finishing their defensive possessions, and that's really killing them the entire game. You can really see it on the last possession and say, hey, Bam, you should have boxed out, but it was an all game and all series long problem, if we're being honest. Bam just will not box out, and it's making the Heat look a lot worse than they should. Their defense has been pretty decent. The Celtics aren't shooting an incredibly high number on their first shot attempts, but those second chance points are really killing the Heat bad. And this game was so hard to watch at certain points, and that's really what made it better in the end in the fourth quarter, is just knowing that both of these teams could have ran away with this at any point in time if they just played a little bit better. In the third quarter, the Heat were in the bonus with 9 minutes left to go, and they did not drive or attack at all, and it really led to their defeat. Do you know how many free throws they could have got on tap fouls? And they just didn't go inside. Jimmy Butler looked scared to do anything tonight. He would go inside, 2 feet in the paint, wide open rim, he's passing it out. Go inside, pump fake, 2 pump fakes, 3 pump fakes. He just looked scared to play basketball. And that coming from a guy who said, we can win this next game and we will win this next game. And he's smiling when they lose. I expect you to come in and have that same swagger and confidence. He looked shaken. And I would be too after watching the Celtics just stomp on y'all. They had the opportunity to close out this game. They had the opportunity to really just go to the finals. This could have been over. But instead, they didn't give their best effort. That's what I saw. I saw a lot of settling for threes, and on the defensive end, when they got their stops, they were not closing out the possessions. In a game where Duncan Robinson's hitting huge shots for you, Caleb Martin's giving you a 20-point double-double, I need you guys to win this game. And a lot of this is on Bam's shoulders, I feel like. Bam is supposed to be that second star, all-star guy, and he just doesn't look like it at times. He can't perform on all levels. Bam came out here tonight and he got outplayed. Plain and simple. He didn't put the effort in. Guys like Al Horford were just getting big plays on him. He wasn't collapsing for those rebounds when they really needed him to, and it led to their detriment. And every single time that this is the case, you see that the Heat will struggle. They lost to the Hawks in the same fashion. Bam getting horsed by Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. That's unacceptable. I want to talk about Jason Tatum because I'm not impressed with his performance in the series at all. I'm not. He'll start off and he'll have a monstrous first half. But by the time the second half comes around, he's gassed. He's done. He has nothing left in the tank. These fourth quarters, he's looked bad. Straight up, he's looked bad. He started this game off with 25 points in the first half and ended with 31. At halftime, Charles Barkley goes, there's an over-under. Will Jason Tatum get 35 points plus or no? Charles Barkley goes no, and I say, you're crazy. Jason Tatum can get 10 points in 5 minutes. You think Jason Tatum's not going to get 10 points in 2 quarters? And guess what? He didn't. Jason Tatum ended the game with 31 after having a 25-point half. This has just been the case every game of this series, or most games of this series at the very least. I think there was one fourth quarter where he really did show up, but for most of the series, I feel like Jason Tatum just hasn't showed up when they really need him at the end of these games. for Jason Tatum to not be getting the shot attempts up, for him to not be having the points that you need him to have at the end of the game, and your main calling card is your scoring, is really unacceptable to me. You can't have these fourth quarters where you're scoring no points or you're scoring less than like 6 points. You can't have it. You can't. You started off with 25. I expect you to have at least 35. At least. He couldn't get 10 points in 2 quarters. I think that's insane. Let's not even talk about Jaylen Brown, because Jaylen Brown's not looking too much better either, if we're being honest. The duo just isn't looking as great as we thought they were going to look. I feel like any way you look at the series for the Boston Celtics, it's really is a loss for them. Listen, you can say all you want about the 3-0 comeback, and I'm not saying that's not impressive. Obviously it is. It's never been done in NBA history. But the fact of the matter is, you came into this playoff run expecting to be head and shoulders above most of the league. You were supposed to come into this playoff run and be neck and neck with Milwaukee, who we'll talk about them soon enough. But you're supposed to be neck and neck with Milwaukee and pretty much stampeding over your competition. And here you are with an 8th seed, and you had to come back from down 3-0. And it's an even worse look if they lose. So let's just hope they win. But hey, I'm just saying that's a terrible look. And for both of your stars to not be doing the best when you need them to come up big, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's some dangerous waters we playing with over there in Boston. As for who I think is going to win this series, your guess is as good as mine. I've seen the Heat blow out the Celtics. I've seen the Celtics blow out the Heat. I've seen the Heat close out a close game. I've seen the Celtics close out a close game. If both teams are shooting well, this can very much be the same type of game. If they're both shooting poorly, we could get another one of these same type of games. So I really feel like this is a 50-50 shot either way. It just depends on who comes and shows up and puts their best effort out on the floor. Who do I want to win? I really don't mind either way, if I'm being honest with you. History is being made regardless. Miami's an 8th seed going to the finals. That's incredible. And if the Celtics come back 3-0, first team to come back 3-0 as well. So either team is making history. And I also feel like either team would struggle against the Nuggets, which leads me to not really care too much about who comes out, because I feel like maybe the Celtics would fare better. But honestly, I'm just looking at both sides, and I'm thinking I think the Nuggets will probably close this out in 5 or 6. Even if it's an entertaining series, the Nuggets have so much poise that these teams are just not really showing, especially in these huge moments. I just see a lot of breaking down for both teams, whether it be on offense or defense. And if we're being honest, the Celtics did not close that game out well. They didn't. Miami was down 10 with 2 minutes to go, and somehow the game ends on a game-winning layup from Derek White. That's not a good look for Boston at all. Shout out to Jimmy. Watching those 3 free throws in real time was absolutely gut-wrenching. I cannot imagine being in his position and having to take those free throws out. That was cold. That was cold-blooded, absolutely ice cold. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. Also, shout out to Derek White. He's been putting in an effort, and he's the main reason why the Celtics are winning these games. And I know somebody's going to hear me say Derek White's the main reason why they're winning the games. Absolutely. They don't win Game 5 if Derek White doesn't come out and show out like he did. He was absolutely on fire. And then tonight, Derek White hitting huge shots, and then he hit the huge shot to extend this series. And no Derek White, no wins. That's how I feel about it. No Derek White the past 2 games, no wins for them. Either way, I'm hyped for Game 7. I can't even describe what this series is. I didn't think we'd get this far. I genuinely thought Miami would be done at the latest this game, but they were real close, but they couldn't close it out. Here we are. We're going to a Game 7. I'm going to enjoy Game 7. I'm hoping for another good game. This has been the BagTalk podcast. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.
Nothing easy. Nothing easy. We go.